My name is Peter Mingils. I run the company called PM Marketing. Some people know us as Network Leads or Gourmet Leads, and some people call us, I'm sure, lots of other stuff. But what I want to do tonight is I want to have a nice conference call with a gentleman named Dr. Charles King. And I'll share with you a little reference of how I met Dr. Charles King, and hopefully this will be relative to maybe you and your situation. Way back in 1997, I had decided that I was going to leave Chicago, only for the reason that I decided I wanted to live somewhere else, wanted to redesign my lifestyle. And although I had done well with direct sales and direct sales management, it wasn't the lifestyle that I thought was best for me. It was a good one, but I don't think it was the best. Although I could make a lot of money, I was spending a lot of my time, and I was literally working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was working for a company that didn't have necessarily the level of faith that was going to be something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I wanted to redesign things. So for me, it was going to be, where do you want to live, Peter, and go do this? And for me, again, personal choice was Florida. Now, the next question I had for me was, now I know I didn't have an unlimited stream of income coming in, and I couldn't live on my savings forever. So now it was a question of, where am I going to go out and make my next dollar? And for me, part of that was going to be, if I had a chance to do it all over again with the environment that we're in, meaning I knew technology was going to grow and become more integral and become less expensive and more widespread, I said, why not be able to work from home in a home-based business? And for me, that was network marketing. And in the process of that, I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. I had spent 13 years of my life, which is a pretty big chunk, in the direct sales and direct sales management industry, and I said, I can't afford another 11 or 13 years of my life in the wrong types of industry. I had heard about home-based businesses before. I had heard about network marketing companies before, but I really wanted the truth. Now, not to say anything bad about distributors, but I always knew that you'd hear certain things from distributors, and you would hear maybe certain things from corporate owners, why their company was the biggest and the best and maybe why their products were great. And, of course, you'd expect them to say those things. But I was in pursuit, if you will, of the truth for network marketing. I wanted to find out if it was a real business. I wanted to find out if it was on a solid foundation. And after a few different events, I wound up passing in front of Dr. Charles King. And Dr. Charles King, I had heard, was running a university seminar for network marketing. And I said, why not go to someone and find the academic truth, not the distributor enthusiasm, not maybe the company owner's pride. Why not find the academic truth behind the business model of network marketing? So through a series of events, I said, well, let me see if I could visit with Dr. King. I actually flew up and saw him. I was in Florida at the time. I flew up to see him. He was gracious enough to give me some time, and he asked me, I said to him, Dr. Charles, is this a real industry? Can really someone make it? Is it professional? Is it something that I could really be proud of? Is it something I could really make some money at? And where do I go to learn more? And in the process of learning those things, he said, well, we run a seminar. Why don't you come back for the seminar? Now, because I was totally coachable, and I knew that any time a gentleman like Dr. Charles would spend some time with me, it would make sense for me to spend some time with him, I said, I'll do it. And I went to that seminar back in 1997 and graduated. It's a 3-day seminar. It was at the Hilton over at the university. And I had such a great belief in network marketing at the end of that, I started doing what I was doing. Now, in the ultimate wisdom, I'll give you full disclosure here, I told Dr. Charles what I was going to do as far as joining a company, and he told me, don't do it. But I thought, based on I had more information than he did about what was going on, I say, I understand. He was gracious enough to say, Peter, you make your own decisions, and that's fine, but I'd recommend you probably don't. Well, I followed my own intuition, and I was wrong. The company I was with, eventually all the things that he said would happen eventually started happening, and unfortunately, that's how we got started in the lead generation business. But in the process of that, I knew the leads were always going to be important, and as a result of that, we started our lead generation business, and I was always in contact with Dr. Charles as a result, and he asked us to come back as a guest speaker. So now I've been through the university seminar course and seen how it's evolved, and I just really feel responsible to let you guys know who Dr. Charles King is. He's going to give you a level of perspective that he was able to give me, And if you so choose and so are inclined and you want to go to the seminar in November, I want to make all of this stuff available for you now. So if you have to do any budgeting or figuring out or calendar scheduling, you'll be able to do any or all of those things. So if you want to come to the seminar, I will share with you now that I'm a guest speaker, instructor. We've done this maybe for the last 5 years. I would go back to this seminar if I wasn't a guest speaker because I love to have my batteries recharged. I love to be able to have access to all the diverse people that go there, and I certainly love the setting over in McDonald's University. So again, I wanted to introduce us to Dr. Charles, and Dr. Charles is going to share with us a few of the things that are happening with the industry, and that's enough of me talking. I already spent about 5 minutes giving you guys enough time to be able to get on the line, grab some pens and paper, and just hear a little bit about my background in relationship to Dr. Charles. So Dr. Charles, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Peter. We're really excited about the kinds of conference calls you put together. You're one of the industry leaders in lead generation, and you do an excellent job in supporting your people. So you lead the conversation. What question do you want to start with?
Well, let's talk a little bit about you. You're a doctor at the university. You're a smart guy. You're a consultant to not only network marketing, but also other industries as well. Why don't you share with us how you got into this? Because that story in itself is certainly interesting.
Peter, it was really an accident. In 1990-91, we had a major recession here in Chicago, and our students were simply not getting jobs. They were graduating, they were going out for interviews, and ultimately they were getting what we call underemployment opportunities. They were getting hired for positions that were significantly lower than they had spent 4 or 5 years training at the university level to get. And so the end product was, my dean came to me and he said, Charles, you have a consulting practice and you have all of these contacts with industry and with other business types. Find some categories where we can train our students and get them jobs. So I left that interview and I said, okay, Dean, I'll do what I can. And I went out and I surveyed a number of our graduates. They, of course, were all entrepreneurs. They'd organized their own businesses. So they said, that's the way to go. Well, our people, the young people graduating, were too young, didn't have the money, didn't have the background, didn't have the experience, and so the end product was starting your own business when you're 24 or 25 years old didn't make sense for me. The end product, I said, let's look at business in a box. Let's look at franchising. Well, franchising also is a good opportunity, has lower risk than starting your own business from scratch, but on the other hand, franchising requires that you have money, that you have time, that you have perseverance, that you stay in the position 3, 4, 5 years before you break even, and then you may not make much more than you're paying your people at the counter minimum wage. So the end result, I didn't think franchising was the answer, and then I ran across direct selling. Now, for the people on this call, most of you don't realize, but more money is made by Americans in this country in the direct selling career path than any other single career path. Now, if you're F. Lee Bailey as an attorney or if you're DeBakey as a cardiovascular surgeon, obviously you make a lot more money. But direct salespeople can make money. An insurance salesman who gets in the $1 million round table can make $400,000 or $500,000 a year just as residual income based on renewals. So I said, hey, that's an opportunity. Our people can learn direct selling. I can teach it. And then I backed into network marketing. One of my students was, in fact, a network marketer. And he said, why don't we look at network marketing? Now, they don't teach network marketing at the Harvard Business School where I got my doctorate. And so I didn't know much about it. And I told him, I said, son, I don't know anything about it. And he said, well, let's go to meetings. Let's go to the library. Let's do what we can find to learn about it. And I said, son, and I looked him in the face, and I'll never forget this series of lines. I said, son, I know enough to know. I don't want to know any more. He looked at me and he said very slowly, he said, Professor, if I gave you that answer to that question with no more information than you have about network marketing, you'd give me an F because you would say I didn't know what I was talking about. Professor King, I'm giving you an F. I don't think you know what you're talking about network marketing. I was stunned. The young man had caught me. He was right. I was wrong. I turned to him and I said, son, you just made an A. Let's go investigate network marketing. And it turned out that 6 months later, I had investigated the industry. We had done the literature research. We had talked to people. We had gone to meetings. I started teaching, Peter, network marketing in the university curriculum in September of 1991. And it has changed the university curriculum. It has changed my life. I became an evangelist about network marketing based on fact, not based on passion, just based on fact. I found two things in the course of that investigation. Number one, you can make a substantial amount of money as an entrepreneur. This is alternative career pathing, part-time or full-time, as a network marketer. Secondly, network marketing in the broader marketing context is probably the most efficient distribution channel in all the marketing discipline. And with that passion myself, I believed it. I started teaching network marketing as a channel of distribution in the university program, telling people what network marketing was all about. And then from there, I started the UIC certificate seminar in 1994, teaching practitioners like the people on this call how to effectively run a professional network marketing business. So that's my story. I've been at it now, as I look back on my time clock, over 15 years. My wife and I run the seminar through the university. It's a university program, and we have traveled all over the world in delivering the program. We have thousands of graduates. It's the only one of its kind in the world. And so I'm very pleased to be here to share 15 years of academic background, intensive research with the people on this call.
Excellent. Thanks, Dr. Charles. So that's how you got started. Now, you mentioned something that you've run the seminar, just for the people on the line. I know you usually only have, because you're busy at what you do with your regular job, if I can call it a job at the university. You're a consultant for this industry as well as other industries as well. So you're not just tied into the network marketing industry by itself. So you're a busy guy, and then there's a lot of demands for you all across the world. You've been in different countries spreading the word of network marketing. Which countries have you been to?
We've been, of course, the United States is our base. We do one seminar here a year at least. Then we do seminars anywhere anyone invites us. We've been to Australia. We've been to Canada. We've been to Colombia. We've been to New Zealand. We've been to Singapore. We've been to Japan. We've been to Korea. And we're expanding into Latin America now. We're really excited about the international growth of network marketing. And that's where a lot of the growth in the industry is. And I can assure you, we can teach you how to run an international business from your home, from your basement in the United States. It's a no-brain teaser to do that, and there are techniques and procedures to do it, and it's a paint by number once you start down that process. We call one of the phases we tease about, Grandma Goes Global, and we do in fact teach you exactly what to do. Again, my theme is there's enormous opportunity, and we're very much into the global market. As I said, we're going into Latin America. In Colombia, this is our second time there. We're going to Chile. We're going to Mexico. We're going to Argentina. We're going to Brazil, and the network marketing boom there is big time. We'll be going to India and China in 2005 to 2006.
Wow. Therefore, you don't have a whole bunch of time to run the seminar, obviously, in the States.
One time a year.
Now, you're doing it this year in November. I forget the dates.
November 5, 6, and 7, and you gave the site. We have the seminar now at the McDonald Training Center, McDonald Corporation Training Center, which is absolutely an outstanding facility, one of the best in the country, and tiered classrooms, beautiful surrounding on a estate environment, and it's just the best possible environment for outstanding education. And we have an outstanding group of speakers, including you, who come and present various aspects of the industry. They're all specialists, and we have income earners who made millions of dollars a year who come and teach you how they did it, not from the perspective of their company, totally generic, but from the perspective of these are the tools, these are the techniques that have to be used. Now, one thing I would like to add, Peter, and this might be the time, one of the things that I've tried to do since I started evangelizing in 1991, I've tried to put this industry in the perspective of being a profession, and that every network marketer here should, in fact, be developing professionalism in the way they execute the business. And that's a major theme that I carry forward, and I want to emphasize to everyone here, you'll hear a lot of people who look like used car salesmen, who are extremely enthusiastic but lack information, who aren't factually founded, who can't answer your questions. That is not anything against the industry. Those are people who are really unqualified to be out there promoting and selling the concept of network marketing. If you develop this concept as a profession, and a profession is defined, and I just finished a 15 dictionary analysis, a profession is defined as an occupation that requires specialized training and ongoing skill development over time. Does that sound like medicine? Does that sound like the law? Does that sound like theology? Does that sound like a host of other high-level professions? Yes. That also sounds exactly like network marketing. Unfortunately, many of our people in the industry, there are 13 million of them who are distributors, have not made a commitment to that kind of professional development. My argument is that everyone who is serious about network marketing should get educated to do it professionally, meaning to apply the same skills, the same dedication, the same commitment to purpose, the same commitment to education and ongoing training. Physicians call it the medical practice. Well, I think this is something we call the network marketing practice. We're never perfect. We're always improving through education and self-development. And that's an enormous benefit, but each person who is interested in being successful in network marketing should make the commitment to, one, that this is a profession and should be handled in a professional way, and secondly, that you as an individual practitioner should develop the skills necessary to be a success.
That's a great point. And when people go through the university certification course, they actually get certified as being a professional network marketer through the university.
Exactly, and that's a major step in mastering this broad range of what I call the body of knowledge associated with any profession. In medical school, you learn about anatomy and biology. In law, you learn about legal cases and case law and the state laws and the federal laws. In a host of other professions, you learn about their unique idiosyncratic requirements. In network marketing, you need to learn essentially 5 different things. Number 1, you need to learn what the broad structure of the industry really is, how the industry evolved, what the current structure is, what the sales volume is. Why do you need to know that? Because people are going to ask you. They're going to want you to be able to explain to them what the industry is all about. So you need that comprehensive body of understanding about what network marketing is. Number 2, you must develop from that a strong belief system that you believe that network marketing is a good career path. It's imperative that you understand that and that you be able to sing it with the most maximum passion, but supported, and Peter, this is key, supported not with just passion, but with fact and detail. And we can teach you that line by line. Number 3, it's important that you do, in fact, develop an in-depth understanding of the generic network marketing process. And I emphasize generic. Every company will have its own spin, its own approach to how it thinks its business works best. But I say that there is, in fact, a structured way to do network marketing. Once you learn it, you can modify it to whatever product, whether it's prepaid legal, whether it's skincare, whether it's, in fact, telecommunication, or whatever is the product service category. You can modify your process once you have the broad base. The 4th important dimension, I think it's imperative that you develop a passion for and a knowledge about your company and its services and products. You must believe that your company is the best possible supplier of that particular product or category. If you don't believe it, you can't sell it. You can't communicate the passion of conviction. The last point, and I think this is very important for survival long term for an individual distributor, you must understand how your company is different than all the other companies in the same category. Why is your product, your cosmetic, your dietary management program, or your telecommunication package better than your competition? And furthermore, how do you have to operate within your company? What are the policies and procedures you have to follow to stay in line and to effectively manage your business under the company umbrella? So those are 5 areas, the body of knowledge in a profession that everyone has to master. We can teach you at the university seminar the generic material about the industry, about the process, about how you position and analyze, but your company can carry you into the company side and give you that detail. So bringing a complete understanding of the industry and the process makes you prepared to receive your company training much more efficiently.
Excellent. Now, Dr. Charles, you started your pursuit in this 1990, 1991, and here we are into the, well into the middle of the 2000s already. You initially started as a quest to see if your graduating students should use this as a profession.
Exactly.
Is it better now in the environment, of the economic environment now, to choose network marketing as a profession than it was before? What's the straight scoop on this? Relative to where we were in the early 90s, now we are in the 2000s. Is network marketing maybe a better vehicle than even when you started looking?
Frankly, I think it is. And why is that the case? Number one, the network marketing industry has significantly advanced itself from where we started in 1990-91. Think about telecommunication. All of the major network marketing companies have advanced telecommunication systems. They all have websites. They all have online training that you can get. They are all in the CD-ROM business if you want to download it onto your computer. There's a massive training technology side to the business that didn't exist back when I started investigating in 1990-91. Second, virtually all of the major network marketing companies are now international, and they're expecting to grow their business. I spoke of Latin America, I spoke of India, I spoke of China. Of course, Europe is there, growing slowly, but the massive growth will be in those continents we just discussed, India, Latin America, and China. Now, everyone is hooking up to be large volume producers in those international markets. That didn't exist in 1991. The companies were just starting to go international big time. Today, it's given that if you're a network marketer with one of those leading companies, you're going to have the opportunity to go international. Additionally, the products and services have gotten enormously more sophisticated. They're better, they're broader. We were only talking about potions and lotions back in the 90s. Now we're talking about telecommunication, we're talking about prepaid legal, we're talking about a host of things in the service sector that never existed in the 1990s. So the product category much, much broader and much more, appealing to people depending on what their personal passions may be about selling products. Now, another point, I think the compensation plans have all gotten much more sophisticated and much more rewarding to people, and the companies are getting more aware that they have to, in fact, be able to offer compensation plans that reward you early and at the same time give you residual income on which you can build a lifetime career. So the compensation plans have gotten more sophisticated and more rewarding to members. All told, just based on those particular observations, the industry is up to speed and moving into growth in 2000 to 2010. I think the next 5 years is going to be so dramatic because we're moving out of this downturn. People are ready for action, new enthusiasm, new vitality. The entrepreneurial streak is stronger than ever, and I think we're going to see more and more growth in this industry.
If we do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Now, here's some of the challenges, and we were talking about this as far as the preparation for this call. I know that if someone were to take a look at network marketing as a business model, hear this conversation, and they really had a level head without exercising levels of prejudgment or exercising levels of preconceived notions, they could see this as being a business model. But what gets in the way is the people like, and I'm not anti-used car salesman, but just to use it as a stereotype, the get-rich-quick scheme mentality, the spam that's in our inbox, that's usually sandwiched in between, something else that's in our inbox. The message about network marketing is not necessarily helping us. Matter of fact, in many times if you ask people about network marketing, similar to where you were before, but now they have more exposure to it, they say, oh, I wouldn't want to do that, or is that one of those things? What's your spin on that as far as being a conflict to why this thing isn't growing like crazy? It should be.
I think the answer to that is exactly right on to your question. Number one, those people are in fact disparaging. They're insulting. They're debilitating. they're damaging the network marketing industry business model and the story. Now, what everyone on this call should do is adopt a negative attitude toward that kind of stuff and say what we've got to do is develop a very strong posture about factualism in network marketing. The way you counter those kinds of people with the scams and with that, as you say, the used car mentality, the get-rich-quick stuff, the way you handle that is to pound the market with factual content. And you and I have been through this before. I have a program called the 15 Factoids of Network Marketing, and the 15 Factoids document the power, the credibility, the structure of the industry. A couple of quick factoids. Number one, word-of-mouth communication is the most powerful word-of-mouth communication device in all of network marketing. It is stronger than traditional advertising. It is stronger than the usual telemarketing. It is the most powerful program for changing behavior and getting people to buy. Number two, the network marketing industry is built on word-of-mouth communication, and therein lies the enormous power of the process. The word-of-mouth communication is the tool that works best and drives network marketing. Number three, when you start looking at industry performance, you have to be realistic. This industry worldwide is a $79 billion industry. That's fact. That's not word-of-mouth hype. That's not scamming. Those are facts documented by the Direct Selling Association. In the United States, there are $29 billion worth of sales made every year in network marketing, direct selling network marketing. Now, taking the next step, there are 12 countries that do over $1 billion a year, followed by Canada at about $900 million. Those are billion-dollar-a-year countries. So there's an industry out there that makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of factoid number 4, 74% of the direct sales are network marketing sales. So when you talk about direct sales, you say, well, what percentage of direct sales will be network marketing? 74%. And that's powerful because that says that the network marketing program we're talking about on this call does drive the direct selling industry. Another factoid for a quick look. As I said, in this country we're talking about $28 billion in 2002. So my program says very simply, this is an industry with enormous power in this country with 13 million distributors. Now, anyone on this phone call, if they hear a scam with someone who sounds like they're used car salesman with lots of hype, ask facts. And by the same token, if you're out talking about the industry to people you're trying to recruit or you're trying to train, be able to quote those facts as part of your body of knowledge in understanding the profession of network marketing. We can go on with those things later, but the point is that gives you an idea. Develop a factual understanding of what the network marketing industry is all about, and then follow up and communicate that to people. That will create, number one, an absolute credibility statement for you, and secondly, reinforce your belief system that this network marketing program makes sense.
Excellent. You know, as I'm listening to you, I'm remembering the reasons why I went to the original seminar way back in 1997. It was because I knew if I was going to be successful in anything, of course, I had to have belief in myself and belief in the industry. And that if I lacked the belief in either myself, which I would always be working on, or belief in the industry, I'd be holding myself back. You've given us some of the factoids, you've given us some of the words, you've given us some of those other things so I can have real belief in the industry. If I really wanted to bring my business to the next level, I knew if I was visiting with you and some of the other leaders, any disbelief in the industry would be totally gone away. So tell us more about the seminar that you do, the one that's coming up in November, because that gives us many of us that want to go the opportunity to start budgeting some dollars and making some plans. And November's going to be here faster than we ever think about it, and how people that go through that seminar take their business to the next level because they built up their beliefs. So let's start to talk a little bit about what you do in Chicago at the McDonald's University.
What we do at the university is really try to achieve that first understanding of the body of knowledge. We teach you as a platform the entire structure, history, evolution. We teach you the factoids that I was just repeating times 15 or 20 others. And so when you finish there, you have no doubt about what network marketing is, and you should have a clear factual understanding. Now, something I'll come back to toward the end of the call, we give you, for every presentation, it's always presented with a PowerPoint, so you get a visual statement, you get handouts summarizing the visual statements that you see on the screens with the speakers, and you take those home as part of your workbook that you can then relate to later. So you get a complete industry dossier of the history of network marketing and all of the current detail with that, current stats and all of that. Second, from there, building on that platform, we turn from the basic body of knowledge about network marketing to the skills and techniques you need to learn to be successful. And we focus on three major categories. Number one, we say that you need to have an ability to build your personal business plan for your network marketing business. Now, everyone in that room and every person on this call will have a different commitment in terms of time they can spend, in terms of money they can spend, in terms of excitement, what their long-term vision may be, and that's fine. I say build your personal business plan around what your realities are. And so everyone in the room emerges with a business plan outline. We give you the structure, you fill in the blanks. So in that sense, you walk out of there, module one, important element, you develop the ability to build your own business plan and update it to follow your changing situation. Second point, we then turn to specific techniques in terms of the detail associated with building a distributor organization. Now, what are those techniques? We spend a lot of time going down that technique list. We talk about prospecting, inviting, presenting, handling objections, closing and signing, training, mentoring, supporting, tracking performance by some of the best leaders in the network marketing industry. Mark Yornell, a multi-million-dollar income earner, has been in the industry since 1984, continues to be an outstanding performer, really an outstanding teacher, leader, mentor. Sandy Ellsberg, a woman who has done great things teaching women how to do the network marketing industry most efficiently. She's been very successful herself. Tim Sales, an outstanding person in terms of technology, in terms of the how-to of network marketing. He, too, is a multi-million-dollar income earner. Of course, I represent the academic side in the seminar team, and I talk about the history of the industry, the backdrop, but I also teach the business model, how to make money in network marketing from managing the business program. So the second group we talk about, the second element, deals with the specific detail, the techniques, the skills you need to build a business. I then pick up on the back end and talk about how you take the proven skills of entrepreneurial management we know work. I teach it, I consult about it to a host of different industries, and I say, let's apply those in network marketing. And we teach you how to manage your network marketing business. Now, I jokingly tell everyone, most network marketers manage their businesses out of a brown paper bag. They just don't do a good job of it because they don't know how. They're not structured. They don't have paint-by-number formats. We give you that kind of detail in that seminar program. Now, the important benefit is that we also have outside speakers who are specialists like yourself. You're a leader in lead generation, and you tell that process and how you use lead generation as a tool in building your organization. Jeffrey Babner, a leading attorney in the network marketing industry, talks about the state of the legal situation, which everyone is always wanting information about. And then we have another guest speaker, Mike Sheffield, who is the leading compensation specialist, compensation consultant, who talks about how compensation plans are structured. And from his presentation, which is totally generic, you can get a better understanding of how to understand your compensation plan, which most distributors never fully understand, but you'll get a better understanding of the structure of compensation plans and how they compare across different formats. So we have an outstanding list of speakers and seminar leaders. And then the important thing, and I emphasize this repeatedly, most of the learning is not from us standing there speaking to you, but from the interaction of you with 100 to 150 other people in this fantastic classroom environment where you sit down at dinner or at lunch and you talk with people about how they do their business, and they come from 20 to 30 other companies. So the end result is you get an opportunity to cross-fertilize with a lot of different people. And it's very exciting. The electricity in the room, as you point out, your belief level goes out the roof. The electricity is absolutely powerful. And so that's what we do in the seminar.
One of the reasons why I went, Dr. Charles, I knew the stuff that we'd be teaching would be great, but to hear the nugget of information that might come out of Tim Sales's mouth or Sandy Ellsberg or certainly Mark Yarnell, he might say something just from, off the cuff, as especially Mark might say, that would be that nugget of information, that one little piece that made the whole thing worthwhile. And many times I look for these leaders to just give me that, okay, just tell me the way it is, because I want to build this thing like crazy, and they were able to certainly do that. So, Dr. Charles, let's go through some of the details again for those people that might be themselves interested or bringing them, their downline with them as well. And I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it flat out the way I'm going to say it. If you're planning on building a big business, get there to the seminar. And it's not just about you. It's about bringing as many people as you can muster, maybe even people you haven't even sponsored yet there as well. All of the people that I know that I had brought there previously, or the people that I've referred to, are still actively building the business. I mean, so many years later. And they'll point back that, this was a really major turning point in my career. This solidified my belief. So if you have leaders in your business, if you want them to stay leaders in your business and really catapult their business, bring as many people as you can. So, Dr. Charles, this might be the single most event that I know that you can bring people to that really help solidify your leadership group. So tell us more about how to get involved. It's November 5th, 6th, and 7th, which is usually a Friday afternoon, I guess it starts. Why don't you finish the rest?
All right, here is the story. The seminar starts on November 5, 6, and 7. We start with registration at 12 o'clock noon at the McDonald Training Center at McDonald Corporation in Oak Brook, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. So you come, you register, and you get your book of materials that you'll be referencing for the rest of the seminar period. Then we start our sessions, and from roughly 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 o'clock that night, you're going to be in seminar programs and discussions, in a dinner that night where we have keynote speakers, and you fraternize further and get acquainted with all the other members. And then if you're so inclined, there'll be lots of private time for socializing with people after the evening session after 10 o'clock. At 7 o'clock the next morning, we start with a continental breakfast, and again, offering the opportunity for people to share their experiences, their backgrounds, and so on. We start promptly at 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock a.m., we start through a whole series on day 2. Now, day 1 focused on building a business plan. We talk about goals and objectives and how you structure your business plan, and you virtually go through that business planning exercise on day 1 into the evening on day 1. Then on day 2, we turn and talk about the industry, that macro overview, and then we turn back from there and say, let's start dealing with the mechanics of all those things in the skill box, 9 different ones that we treat in day 2. And we have outstanding speakers, Sandy Ellsberg, Mark Yarnell, and Tim Sales, dealing with the mechanics of how you build an organization, and they've all done it in terms of great success. Now, on day 3, we start summarizing about integrating your business plan with specific techniques of building, and that's a combination of day 1 and day 2, sort of a capstone of day 1 and day 2, and then I pick up on how you manage your business in terms of ongoing success, presuming that you move forward from the start stage into success. We teach you how to manage your business all the way from the logistics of the kind of organization you should have to your taxing and how you keep track of expenses, on down to how you manage your personnel, what kinds of consultants you should hire, really everything you need to know about getting your business organized for long-term growth. And then, of course, at the end of that day, we have a graduation ceremony where you do, in fact, receive your certificate as a participant in the network marketing seminar. So now you leave there as a certified network marketing practitioner, and you suddenly have elevated yourself to a new level in network marketing professionalism. We've had thousands of graduates from the program, but there are millions, 13 million network marketing practitioners out there who have not been to the program. So that says you are an elite member of an educated group pursuing the concept of professionalism in network marketing.
And without sounding over-promotional or hypey, you do get the certificate from the university. So when you're talking to your prospects, it's almost like, well, who would you rather go to? An accountant that maybe bought a book and tried to learn it on his own, or someone maybe with some credentials? So that in itself, for using as a prospecting tool, is a legitimate way to put yourself and propel yourself maybe above and beyond anybody else that they might be taking a look at.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, many of our graduates have taken their certificates, had them reproduced, and they do in fact put them in their portfolios. They give them to people to show that they do have this certification document, and some have in fact reduced them and put them on the back of their certificate on the back of their business cards. So people use that certification document in a variety of different ways, but probably its most important value as a document is to give belief and credibility to the individual distributor. It really helps you fight the opponents when they start challenging and criticizing. The information you gain as well as the certification you receive are powerful, powerful tools for dealing with the objection.
Well, they also open up the doors if you want to do some speaking at any kind of an organization. If you want to do some different clubs or different events or different organizations, having that certification certainly puts you on the speaker's platform, and we all know the benefit of that.
Without question. Let me add a point there, that many of our graduates, now again, keep in mind that every person takes away a notebook with the PowerPoint copies of all the presentations. So all the detail that we present, all 8 speakers, and plus other surprise speakers who may come, the end product is you get all of that information in your book. And you can take that home. It's trademarked, but you can go home and use it because you've been a seminar participant. You can use it in developing your own training sessions for your downline members, or for training your regional people, or for, as you suggest, going to trade groups and talking to Kiwanis or the Rotary or whoever to talk about network marketing. Additionally, several of our graduates have gone on to speak in junior colleges, in associate programs, and teach courses directly built off what they took from the seminar. And we give you total freedom to do that. In fact, I've helped several tailor that material that we give you to specific assignments with specific days. I kind of do that as a freebie for people who participate in the program.
Excellent. Now, Dr. King, is there a website that we can go and look at some of this information?
The website that's very powerful and has all the detail there is www.networking. So that reads www.networking.com. Now, a thing to note, that network is an abbreviation. It's a shorthand spelling, NETWK. Now, a second contact, once you go to the website, you'll have all the information about the current program, what the objectives are, who the speakers are, what the agenda looks like, what the time schedule is, how you, in fact, book your room at the McDonald Corporation Training Center. All of the detail will be there. And we're adding new content as virtually every week. There will also be some vignettes, me speaking. There will be some oral material, verbal, and then there will be some videotapes of a promotional video about the seminar. So you can get a lot of information from that website. Now, an additional reference, anyone who has questions that they would like to ask me, they can call me directly. That number is Charles W. King, 630-668-1251. 630-668-1251. That number dials directly into my consulting office. If I don't pick it up in the office, it rings into my home. It's a 24/7 contact point. People call me all the time. And the first response, they say, we expected to get an answering machine. You may get one if I'm on the phone. If I'm here, I answer the phone. You will talk directly to me. If you leave your information, a message on the voicemail, I will call you back. So you're not talking to some end-of-line play here. You're talking directly to Charles King. And my wife, Sandra King, who runs the program, may answer it. She knows as much about it as I do, but I typically am here and will be able to answer your questions.
Excellent. Now, Dr. Charles, we've gone over several things so far. You went over the seminar, the importance of the seminar. Hopefully, if you're listening in, you can see the benefit of you being a leader or an emerging leader ongoing, getting some of this information, bringing the biggest sales team. It's not just about going to a seminar. I know for a fact, Dr. Charles, you do one of these seminars a year. You're not pulling in $1 million a seminar. You do a lot of this stuff just to advance the profession of network marketing here in the States.
Yes, this is not a big time money maker obviously for the speakers. We do it largely as a contribution to the industry. We can make a lot more money speaking for companies than we make working through this university program. The university does it as a break-even program as part of their educational mission because they're very much into entrepreneurial support, and they view the network marketing industry as one of the best entrepreneurial home-based business opportunities in the entire country. And so we are contributing much of our time at very, very low return to the university, but we do it because it is, we think, a very strong contribution.
Oops, I think we lost
Or may not. Oops. This will be our 20th time in November that we've conducted this program since 1994. Now, we update it every time because we're getting new technology, new information, new statistics, of course, and we update it continuously. We occasionally bring in new guest speakers, but the important thing is that we are continually updating, but we've done it 20 times worldwide. And I don't think there's another program of this kind in the world, first, and secondly, no professional speaker group has done this kind of an integrated program with a number of speakers covering a very broad spectrum of topic content. There is no competitor to what we do.
Exactly. And how much does it cost?
It costs $895 for the 3 days. That covers all your meals, all your materials. You have a very inexpensive room at the lodge at McDonald's that you have to pay for roughly $130. That's all documented on the website. But the important thing is, right now, to this group of people on this phone, there's an introductory offer for the first 30 people who sign up. And this is the first conference call we've had, Peter, and I really respect what you've done for us in the past, and I want to offer this offer to everyone. This is the first time this has been announced. For the first 30 registrants, you get $100 off the $895, so you register for $795. Does everyone understand that? You get $100 off if you're part of the first 30 to sign up. And keep in mind, we only allow in about 150 to 200 max. So it's a closed registration program. Secondly, another opportunity, if you bring in 5 people at $895 full price, the 6th person in your downline is free. So you get $895 savings for your group. So bring 5, get 1 free. And that, again, is intended to support people who want to bring their groups and want to grow their businesses accelerated.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Charles, I want to thank you for being on our call. I know you have an unbelievably busy schedule with all the things you do with the university, your consulting with the industry, the outside consulting you do, plus you're a busy guy and your wife certainly...
we do stay busy.
She does keep you busy, that's for sure. And I really appreciate you being on the call.
Well, Peter, it's always a pleasure. You're becoming an icon in the industry yourself. You're taking so much passionate involvement with your people, and you're a leader, and that's excellent. And anytime I can be of help to you on your calls, don't hesitate to call me. And to all the people still on the line, I think you have an enormous leader in Peter. And so if I can be of any assistance to you about the industry, give me a call, 630-668-1251, or visit the website at www.networkmarketing.com.
Thanks a million, Dr. Charles. Good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.